The floor.
First off, I'd like to thank the senator from James City County for elevating this issue and requesting the Crime Commission do the study on decriminalization. But make no mistake, this bill today is not a decriminalization bill. At best, it's an expungement bill, but I believe it's more complicated than that. The bill does nothing to end the policing and prosecution of low-level offenses, including simple marijuana possession, that unnecessarily introduce thousands of people to the criminal justice system each year and add dramatically to the number of people who are needlessly incarcerated or saddled with a criminal conviction for an offense that should not be a crime. And I should explain a little bit. The gentleman from James City County talked a little bit about a deferred disposition, and he mentioned that they have to stay drug-free. They have to go through some random testing. And I met with some probationers who had their first offense not too long ago, and they explained to me what that means. Every night, you have to call a particular phone number, and you have to call and listen for a code. You might be code orange or something. When code orange is called, you have about 12, 15 hours to report for random drug testing in some areas within a particular window of hours during the daytime, between 8 and 5. It might be between noon and 2. So if you have another job, I met with people who are working retail. They didn't necessarily have access to cars. They had to take the day off and tell their employer, I have to go for a random drug test now, and I'll miss work for 2 hours, an hour there, an hour and back. And I spoke to one employer who employed someone after random drug testing who said that it can take a whole day if they're backed up. So that's something that's still going to remain. It also means that because it's no longer the same level of misdemeanor that could allow for jail time, that you don't necessarily get a court-appointed attorney. I know in one county, they have an agreement with the judges that they won't seek jail time now, so you don't get an attorney, meaning that you might not have the same outcome. Further, the bill increases the likelihood for disparate outcomes for different defendants based on wealth for two reasons. It means that people who can't afford attorneys must navigate the legal system without one. But particularly, I want to focus on the expungement issue. The expungement issue is available. It's available if you have an attorney or you're sophisticated in use of the legal system, and if you can pay more money than the fine you've already paid. It's a stretch for some of these defendants to pay a fine as it is, but now we're increasing the fine. Further, the bill continues down the path of turning our criminal justice system into a system that incentivizes policing for profit, since the expungement process is a revenue generator for the state police, which is and it's a cruel irony that it goes to an opioid fund because there's absolutely no evidence of any connection between marijuana use and addiction to heroin or prescription drugs. Virginians want us to decriminalize marijuana possession, not to create a new trap that doesn't have anything to do with racial disparities in our current system. That does not address those disparities or the high costs of continuing to decriminalize simple possession. Consider that we have a disparate racial impact on the enforcement of criminal laws against simple marijuana possession, and the numbers are startling. On average, African Americans are 2.8 times more likely to be arrested for having marijuana than whites, even though usage rates are roughly the same. In Arlington County, a report shows that African Americans are 8 times more likely to be arrested for possessing marijuana than whites. And they will, as they do now, they won't have access to an attorney. And the costs of enforcing marijuana laws are excessive, outrageous, and wasteful. In 2010, we spent $67 million on this with no discernible benefit to the state. That's more than the Commonwealth has budgeted for the current fiscal year for statewide capital improvements to transportation and natural resources combined, and 14% more than the amount of general funds budgeted to support the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, which deals with mental health and substance abuse treatment, among other things, for the entire 2016 to 2018 biennium. Our marijuana laws are penalizing everyone, everyday people, everyday people, not everyone, not drug kingpins. More than half of all drug arrests in Virginia are for marijuana, and the numbers are increasing. The number of marijuana arrests jumped from 13,032 in 2003 to 22,948 to 2014. In 2014. That's an alarming 76% increase. And all of this happened while Virginians more and more strongly favor marijuana law reform. According to a 2016 VCU poll, nearly 8 of every 10 Virginians support decriminalization for simple marijuana possession, in which offenders would pay a civil penalty instead of facing criminal penalties. To those who would ask, isn't this bill a step forward? Isn't it better than current law? I would answer no and ask you to join me in voting against this bill.